We're from Make Them Suffer.
Bleed From Within.
Guilt Trip. Malex on Fire. This is Amped, baby. Amped.
Hello and welcome to AMP-TV. Today we're stoked to be joined by vocalist Kia from the legendary Conquer Divide. Welcome to the show, Kia. Where are you calling from today?
Hello. I'm in Berlin on day 2 of our tour supporting Ankor.
And you've just come off a tour with New Year's Day. How was New Year's Day?
Yeah, it was really great. The crowds were really sick. And I feel like our fan base really like vibed well with their fan base. And I think we made like a lot of new fans, as well as like some of our existing fans were like able to come and see us, which was really nice. So yeah, it was cool. It ended really quickly though. It was kind of just like, wow, I can't believe we're on the last day already.
Yeah. And has that been quite, you say you've been on the road for quite a bit now. Has it been quite strenuous? Is it still kind of, you found that sort of rhythm now?
Yeah, so I feel like usually with touring, for me anyways, it takes like maybe a week or so to kind of like get into the groove. And then the New Year's Day tour ended. And so then it was like, oh, okay, well, I was just getting used to touring. Now we're taking like a 5-day break. And then now I'm touring again. But this tour is so different because it's my first time ever touring on a tour bus. And last night was my first night ever sleeping in a tour bus, and I actually slept really great, which never happens on tour.
I find that I was just having a conversation yesterday with someone about that exactly, right? It's their first time on a tour bus, and they said the complete opposite. It seems to be so divisive. It's like they were saying almost it's different because you can't have that sort of break in the day, like going to a hotel, right? But from what you've said, it seems to be like a dream come true. Right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I've never experienced a tour where we go to like a hotel every night. Yeah. So normally what touring looks like for us is that we, like in the States, we have a 15-passenger van that we have converted the back into 4 bunks, which are pretty small, and we drive ourselves. So, you know, we play the show, we drive, whoever's turn it is to drive, then you try to get some sleep until it's your turn to drive. And so here it's nice, like just being like, oh, I can just go to sleep, and there's a toilet on the bus, which is nice. You don't have to like text the driver like, can you stop? I have to pee. So that's nice. Yeah. It's the little things in life, really.
100%. And just looking at the upcoming tour, back to that, you know, you're coming back to the UK and you're playing what is arguably one of the most well-known venues in London, the Camden Underworld. How does it feel to be playing such a show and doing that?
I mean, honestly, like every time we get to a new place and play a show, like it's kind of just unbelievable. When we were here on the New Year's Day tour, there was one venue we played somewhere in the UK, and there was like maybe 7 people in the crowd that were like singing all the words to our songs, you know, and 7 people doesn't really sound like a lot of people, but like it was an unreal feeling, like 7 people in like a country that like I've never been to before know this. So like every venue is kind of like iconic to me. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see like what the crowds are like. Yeah, just in general, really excited for all of the venues.
Oh, it's brilliant. And looking more sort of at Conquer Divide as a band, I think would be really great is to sort of look at, for those who don't know you, how this project came about. I know you're very much an international band. How did that all come about, and how has it been in terms of writing and practicing and obviously building this project?
Yeah, so we started in 2014. And we were an online band. So we kind of like all found each other online, and then we wrote songs together that way. So what's interesting is that, you know, in 2020, when the COVID pandemic was going on, everything shut down, and a lot of bands were having to experience like long distance writing and long distance jam sessions. And we kind of had already had experience with that, which was kind of nice. So yeah, our writing process is kind of interesting. Usually once the song gets to me, there's a slight structure to the song already in terms of like guitars and like maybe some like a little bit of drums just to like for like tempo, I guess. And so I'm not super involved in like the instrumentation. But as far as like lyrically and melodies, usually Kristen and I will kind of send ideas back and forth with each other, which technology is great for that. Voice memos have been like the saving grace for us, because instead of like having to send an email and be like, what do you think of this? You can literally just be like, oh, I think you should do this, send, and it's like instant. So yeah, the writing process has always been kind of weird for us, but it's just like normal at this point, I guess.
I love how that's all come together. And talking of sort of the track side of things, your latest track, Bad Dreams with Virtue, how did that come about? Was that kind of the same thing? Or did you guys reach out? Was there a previous relationship there? Yeah,
so we had written Bad Dreams around the same time that we wrote the other songs for Slow Burn. But we wanted to keep it off of the album because we thought it was great on its own as a single. And so we thought, okay, well, we'll release Slow Burn and then we'll have some like filler singles while people are waiting for another album, basically. So Bad Dreams was one of those. And before we released it, we thought, well, we want to do a feature on it. Sam, I'm actually going to give all the credit to Sam. Sam has been a really huge Virtue fan for a long time. And she was really excited. She was going to one of their shows. They were playing in her town. And she was saying like, you guys, I'm going to go see a Virtue tonight. I'm going to try to talk to them and see if they want to do this song. She was really, really excited. And Sam is really great at like networking and making connections and stuff. So we knew she could get it done, But yeah, so she spoke to them at the show and they were really excited. They were just as excited as she was and as we were. So yeah, I have to give the credit to her for sure for making that happen.
In terms of when you came to record, was that something you came together to do, or was that done virtually? What was the sort of recording process like?
So actually, when we had it, so I had recorded it at the same time that I recorded all the rest of the songs for Slow Burn. And the part that they did on the song, actually, we had Janelle on those parts, who Janelle left the band about a year ago. And so we sent them the parts and kind of said like, keep it as much, as close to Janelle's as you'd like, or as much as you want to change it. And then, they did their own recording at their own studio, sent stuff back. And then, any notes that we had, which I genuinely don't think there was any, but usually what we do is just like, oh, maybe change this a little bit. So we weren't there with them when they recorded it though.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then, so lyrically that was all written by yourself. And then that was all devised within your circle then when you were recording the album Slow Burn?
Yeah, so I think actually the parts that of Virtue did, all of Janelle's parts were written by Janelle, actually.
Okay.
So so that's why we kind of were like, hey, look, you can keep them as much of like Janelle's parts as you want, or you can kind of make them your own. And I think for the most part, they kept them very true to Janelle's style, which is pretty cool. We also had Julian from Loveless, also was a co-writer on, I think he did some writing on some of the verses as well.
It's a great track, and it's really lovely how that's all come together. And again, like you said, it wasn't about changing anything. It was just adding that little bit of layer on. And I think it complements it so well in that third act, the breakdown, it just all comes together so well.
Yeah, it's actually, it's really cool live, that breakdown part. We have Spencer with us on tour doing the harsh vocals. And and he is really good at getting the crowd engaged. And so when he does keep circling, we always get like a circle pit going. It's really fun. great crowd engagement in that song. It's really sick.
You were saying you were trying to find some filler songs until the next album. So are you suggesting we're going to be hearing some new music soon? Are you currently writing anything? Is there plans in the pipeline, perhaps?
Yeah. So for our next album, we do have enough for like a short album right now, but we want to do a full length. So it's really hard to write when we're touring. We kind of I'll use Izzy's verbiage that she uses, which is we kind of have two modes. We have a touring mode and we have a writing mode, and it's really hard to mix the two. And so we're hoping that once this tour ends, we'll be able to take a couple months to just focus on writing. And I mean, I think we're all really, really proud of all of the work that we've put out. And the problem is that we just are a little bit of perfectionists, almost to a fault. So it takes us a while to feel happy with what we have to put out, because we just really don't want to disappoint anyone. And, you know, you reach this bar and you just feel like you always have to top it. And so, but yeah, hopefully we will have some new stuff. I don't want to give any false hope and say the end of this year. So maybe we'll say next year. Yeah. Hopefully.
We can say soon. We'll hear some new stuff soon.
Yeah, we'll say soon, because soon can mean anything. Really.
Exactly. Open-ended.
Yeah.
And are you playing any sort of new tracks live? Is there anything that people can expect from your upcoming live shows that, you know, they may not have heard before?
So all of the songs that we're playing on this tour are from the Slow Burn album, with the exception of we have one song that's from our self-titled album. And so all of them are out. So really I don't like to like leak the set list, because some people like it to be a surprise, but if anyone wants to know, I'll happily tell them what we're playing. I think Bad Dreams is definitely the newest. We played it on the last tour, and that was before it had actually come out. So even for them, it was really a bigger surprise. And even now you can kind of tell from crowd reaction, like not as many people have heard it as some of the other songs that they've heard from us. But yeah, nothing new, nothing that's not already out. So if you do want the set list and you're like me before you go to a concert and you listen to every song on the set list to practice for the show, you can absolutely do that.
It's just sort of stepping away from your music and looking, what I want to do is sort of look at the industry as a whole. And obviously we all know that metal is a notoriously male dominated sort of genre. And in recent years, we're starting to see that's changing in a really positive way. You know, bands like yourself and, you know, we're seeing this kind of resurgence of female artists really getting up there on the bills, which is, you know, well deserved. And I just wanted to sort of ask, sort of as an all-female band, I know that was your intention when you started. Have you noticed any kind of shift in attitudes change since you started?
Yeah, I think it's a tough question, because yes, you do see a shift a little bit. For example, on the tour that we're on right now, every single band on the package has a woman in it in some capacity, right? And that's really amazing. And something that since the beginning I have said I strived for, to be on a package where every band is female fronted. And like, here we are, baby. On the other side of that, it does sometimes feel a little bit like, is this just something for people to say, oh, well, remember in 2025 when women had all these shows? And maybe I'm a little bit cynical, because there is a little bit of a worry that it's a fad and then it will fade out. So my hope obviously is that it continues and it becomes normal, and that, you know, we all as women continue to work together and lift each other up, so that it does become more normal for venues in different places to see all of these women in these spaces that are normally very male dominated, and eventually get to a place where if we are on a band or on a package where it's all men, and then our band, it's not seen as like, oh, well, we have a girl on the tour. It's just like, oh, we have this band that is awesome.
Yeah.
Times obviously have changed a lot because we very intentionally created a band that was all women. And then as we've progressed, it's kind of been like, yes, we are all women. We don't necessarily want that to define us anymore, but it was obviously intentional. So, you know, it's kind of, I don't know. I can see both sides of it, I guess.
Yeah. And on that, I think you're absolutely right. And I think there's that risk of people feeling like that the female bands are brought on tour just for that tick of a box. But I think what we're seeing today, though, definitely is that recognition of, I think women in music, all genres, are defining and changing what has become a little bit boring for the most part. And I think the most interesting and sort of creative music that's coming out is all from female-led projects. And this is where, you know, change is coming. And I think we're starting to see that skyrocket, especially at bigger festivals and stuff. You know, I think me and my friends have always said, you know, we're sort of waiting for the day when we see places like Download Festival have, you know, a woman headline. You know, we had Evanescence last year, I think, and that was great. You know, she killed it, and we're just waiting for that next one. And hopefully this is the time now we're going to start seeing that, which is very exciting, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's crazy too, if you think about how long Evanescence has been around.
Yeah.
And they are just now headlining, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's okay in the beginning of a big change for, I'm trying to choose my words carefully. It's okay to tick a box, as you said, right? So, we have this band on the package, so we've ticked the box of the diversity hire, if you will, of having women, right? Yeah. And eventually the hope is that it becomes, well, this has been going on for so long, and now women don't need to prove themselves anymore at this point. So just let us do our thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
a good band's a good band. I think that's the only way you should ever judge. It's just, if it's a sick band and they fit the sound, then go for it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, but then at the same time, I'm always going to be the first to be like, oh, this band has a woman in it. Yeah. Let's listen to them. Let's play them. You know what 100%. I mean? So a little bit of both.
Yeah. And sort of rounding things off now, what we like to do is we like to a quick fire sort of round of questions. So starting off, I'd love to get your favorite venue or show on the current EU tour you've had. What's been like a standout venue?
The problem is that, like, I'm the worst person in the band to ask this because all of the venues kind of blend together for me. Yeah. Paris. I think Paris. So we played for the second time in Paris on the last tour with New Year's Day. Yeah. And it was our second Paris show. First one being with The Warning back in September. And before getting there, a lot of people had said, like, you know, don't feel like bummed out if the crowd isn't super reactive. You know, sometimes the people in Paris, like the scene, they're kind of hard to please. So you might not get like as much crowd engagement as you want, right? So we went into this first show kind of expecting not the worst, but, you know, expecting to have to work a little bit harder to get the crowd moving. And both that time and this past time we played in Paris, I think it has been some of our best crowds, and they were not hard to please at all. Or maybe they just really loved us. Maybe we're just that good. I don't know.
Let's go with the former.
It's hard for me to pick venues because, like, I can't remember, you know, like the names of venues, but I kind of remember like what they looked like. But I do remember the cities, so I'm gonna go city route on that one.
And what's a band you've recently discovered that you think people need to check out?
So I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this band, I believe they're called Slay Squad, and it's like rap and metal together. And I've only listened to a couple of songs from them, but from what I heard, they're really, really sick. Yeah. They have like merch that says like ghetto metal, which is really sick. And as much as I love to rep for women, I also love to rep for people of color, and it is a metal band made of people of color. So if you haven't heard of Slay Squad, then you should definitely check them out. Yeah, that's my most recent one. It's like very heavy, the songs that I heard.
Last but not least, what's one of the things you wish you saw more of in the alternative scene?
That's hard to say. I mean, my first instinct is to just say more people of color. I think it's especially women of color would be even more great. But honestly, I feel like the scene can be so inclusive and somehow still like feel a little bit not inclusive to some people. And I've been really lucky that I have felt so included in so many ways, but I know that that's not the experience for a lot of other people. So really, yeah, I think my biggest thing would be more people of color and more women. But I feel like that's kind of an obvious answer. I hope everyone wants to see that.
Absolutely. And finally, what's next for Conquer Divide?
Well, we're finishing out this tour. Not finishing out because we're on day 2. So we're going to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then hopefully get some writing done. We have a festival we're playing in Michigan and a couple of offers for tours up in the air that we're still trying to figure out logistics for. So yeah, hopefully just some writing and maybe some more shows soon.
Amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to it, Kian. Yeah, hopefully that album is closer than we think. Hopefully this side of 2025, but it's soon. We'll leave it at soon.
Yeah, soon. But don't hold your breath.